Well, I guess we'll start streaming. I don't know. Sound good to you guys? Looks like we are up on Twitch. We are getting there on Mixer, maybe. We're up on YouTube. There we are on Mixer. Hey there, Mixer. All right, we are live on all 3 streaming platforms, and now I need to start paying attention to the chat. Hey, Hardman Burwell is there. So is Death Crow. Good to see you guys. And still got my little testing messages up there. Whatever. We'll get this party started, and then we won't be able to even keep track of the chat. Now, hopefully, we've got a setup on different cameras now, so I can take my face off the screen. And whenever I take my face off the screen, I am much better at paying attention to things. And hopefully, I'll be able to keep track of you guys' questions. So let's see here. Oh, that one Canadian. I can't think of his name. It's just that one Canadian. You guys know who I'm talking about. They're here, and whoa, somebody from Turkey is here. Holy cow! I don't know if I've ever been aware of somebody from Turkey joining one of our streams. So welcome, Detective Toprak. It's good to meet you. We do actually. I got to see a lot of Turkish names while I was working on the random name generator for our game, because we do have we got Turkish representation in our characters. Let's see here. King 40, servers are very expensive, and I don't think we're at a point where we can just change the online model of the game. But you know, we've definitely heard the concerns that people have about playing with a tether and the other restrictions that come with peer-to-peer stuff, and so that we're bearing that in mind as we go forward and think about future incarnations of the game. That's definitely not a change we can just sort of do with State of Decay 2. That'd be a huge investment that I don't think we can afford. But you know, please keep your eyes open for future stuff, though, because we hear you, and we want the game to be as close to the ideal version that everyone pictures as it can be. Oh hey, Usedo is here from the Netherlands. That's pretty cool. People from all over the place. Hardman Burwell asks, do we have the ability to work on AAA games? That's an interesting question. So AAA is really hard to define, right? It's hard to sort of decide what exactly is a AAA game and what isn't. We certainly, the studio certainly has employees who have the skill to work on AAA games. A lot of the folks that work here have worked on at lots of big name companies on big name titles, and we definitely have the talent here to work on AAA games. The question is, do we have the time and the budget to make that sort of leap? So definitely, since we've been bought by Microsoft, we've got a lot more access to cash and a lot more control of our own destiny. So as far as the ability of us to work on AAA games, it definitely went up. It'll be up to you to decide if the next game we work on counts for you as AAA. We'll certainly be striving to make it as good as we can, to take advantage of whatever advantages we get. Hardman Burwell's got faith in us. Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Ouchie Kids is saying that apparently my hair color is doing weird things to the monitor, to their monitor. That's interesting. Last week it was closer to the actual color of our background here. It started to fade. I think next week it might start looking more blonde than orange, but that's okay. Orange is kind of a weird bright color. Kermit suggests adding underground bunkers to the game. So that's we actually had that was one of our concepts for a base that we had early on that we ended up having to jettison, because anytime you do anything different and weird with the art, you bring a whole bunch of different new challenges in that you might not anticipate at first. So building multiple, what we'd imagined was a FEMA office. It's like a single-story, small building, very unassuming, but there would be a staircase going down. It would actually have like multiple levels of underground bunker. We thought that would be a pretty cool idea for somebody to find that and use that as a base. We were never able to implement it because there was a lot to it, and it sort of challenged a lot of the expectations that we had gone into the base building process making. But it's the kind of thing we got in the back of our head. So if we end up in a situation where it's easier to do stuff like that, that's certainly one of our favorite thoughts. Oh, let's not start having an argument about whether or not State of Decay 2 is a AAA game. It's definitely one of the ones where you could debate about it one way or the other, and we're secure in that knowledge that, you know, there are definitely games out there that more money was spent to make than ours, and that's, you know, we have no shame about that. So Ouchie says that I'm just making flickers with my hair on the screen. So is it like, am I making like trails across your screen when I do this? So the proper show starts in about 10 minutes. Joe and Brant. So our guest is going to be Joe Swarner. He also goes by Undead Jawa. He's our customer advocate. That's right. He's our customer advocate. That means his job is to talk to the community, but also be deeply involved in the testing and bug fixing process, so he can kind of bridge that gap. And so he'll be talking about what he's been doing for the past couple of months since we got our new support portal open, support.stateofdecay.com. So he'll be chatting with us about that. We're going to have Brant here, who's just fun to hang out with generally. Golden Badger's like, why don't you make motorcycles? I can tell you why we don't just throw motorcycles into the game. There's a couple reasons. Number one, the physics of a motorcycle are very different from the physics of a car. And so we can put a lot of effort into making cars fun to drive, and it basically doesn't count at all for motorcycles. You have to start all over again. Hey, look! It's Joe Swarner, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And then the other reason is you need a completely different set of animations to make motorcycles work. And right now, we're actually at the maximum. We can't add any more animations to the game because we are maxing out all of our budgets. Now, if we started a new game from scratch and we sort of refactored all of our options and and sort of made room for it, I could imagine us doing a game in the future that had motorcycles. But adding them right now to State of Decay 2 would be it's something we couldn't reach for. But that's Joe Swarner, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Sailor. Hi, Hale.
Kind of pointing into his camera. He can't see himself right now, so he can't tell what I'm doing on the screen.
Yeah, you can point at me all you want.
I can slide this over here so you can see where you're positioned.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to mess with anything.
Move around a bit. Got to make room for the Brant.
Yeah, so we're going to have Brant in this chair right here. And I'm going to stay hidden on my own camera. Joe's going to be our host, so he'll be playing the game. He'll be answering your questions. So if you got any questions about supporting State of Decay, interacting with the community, the testing process, and finding and fixing bugs, this is a great place to ask. Just not right this second, because I'm probably going to miss it, and we're not going to get to ask it when we're officially in the middle of the show, which starts in 9 minutes. So
adding in motorcycles would be just as easy as adding in weather effects. Yes, that's true.
that's very astute. Yes, there's this whole category of things that when you first think of it's like, why don't they do this? And then the more you know about the technical costs and everything, you're like, oh, that's why they're not doing that. They want to, or like we would love to have all of those things in the game. In fact, both motorcycles and weather effects were on our early wish list for what we wanted to get into the game.
What's up,
but
guys? How you doing?
Yeah, they all just ran into difficulties, but maybe we'll get to one of them one of these days, but probably some future iteration of State of Decay. State of Decay 2 doesn't have a lot of room. So how are you, Joe? Asks Blaze. Blaze should be napping right now, but Blaze decided to stay up and watch the stream.
Well, since the transition over to here, being on site all the time, much happier. Doing pretty well. How
do you like your enormous desk out in the lobby? Whenever somebody new comes to the studio, we don't have a lot of space left, and so sometimes they got to sit, stand up at a really tall desk.
Well, I don't know. I actually like standing up occasionally, so having a tall desk helps, and having a tall chair also helps. And it makes me a little more comfortable. I'm not a short person.
Yeah, that's true. That does seem like it's built for a hero of your stature.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling me a hero. But
I think we've earned just enough. Was it standing? I think you've earned plenty of standing to count as a hero in our community.
I've certainly moved up in the community. So, hopefully someday I'll be chosen as a leader for something.
But it is great to have you on site because basically like when there is a problem that has come up from the community, Joe can walk around the office and just chat with whoever it is he needs to chat with to find out where does this problem come from? Can we fix it? Can it make it into the next patch? Like,
can we even possibly track this down in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, and so he can actually come talk to us in person instead of having to communicate, through several layers of bureaucracy and abstraction. He can just come and tap you on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, your crap's broken."
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Too. Like I've actually seen bugs written like that from like one designer assigned to another designer, and it was literally just that sentence: "Your crap is broken. Fix it."
Yeah, I think we, usually, especially since a lot of our testers, particularly like our contract testers, will hire out to like a service, to like a staffing service, and so there will be this little bit of sense of I don't really work at this company. There will be maximum politeness going on.
Right.
But when you've worked with somebody for a really long time, you're very comfortable. You can just be like, "Fix your crap," and that goes over pretty well.
It's the same crap as last time.
So let's see here.
Do you believe in Phil Spencer?
I think he exists. Yes.
Yeah.
I think. So, yeah.
Like that's very clearly a factual kind of thing. I don't think there's any belief about it.
Yeah, I know exactly. He is definitely a person, and I don't have a lot of like super strong opinions about like the hierarchy at Microsoft because I don't work directly with a lot of those folks. I mean, they're probably great. And, I work with the people here, and so I've got strong opinions about how awesome the people at Undead Labs are.
So, Blaze, I don't know if there were more or less reported issues, but certainly it has helped us like focus in on what seemed to be the biggest pain points for our community. So while we have, a lot of things that we'd like to come back to, it's certainly helped us.
So we got folks asking about, so Garlic says, is this going to be a big announcement stream where we're going to be talking about Trumbull Valley? No, this is going to be a super chilled out stream where we just hang out and play the game, maybe ask some questions, maybe give away some stuff. That's about it. One thing I need to do is I need to practice speaking slower.
All of them. Hardman, Burwell, all of them are in Undead Labs.
So, so if that's where you're, let me tilt down your camera just a little bit. Just because I think we're getting a little bit of microphone.
Okay.
And you've got a little bit too much headroom. Let me see how that looks.
All right.
That's a little better, yeah. So just don't sit up too tall now, and we'll be good. All right.
I'll try not to.
I'll run
Slouch.
over and change it again if we need to.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Get some slouch going.
So last week, or I guess over the weekend is when it came out, Brant and I were on, you see the Blaze Experience over there in the chat. We were on the Blaze Experience podcast doing the awards ceremony, basically, for the what was it called? The Undead?
SOD2 Awards.
That's what it was, the SOD Awards. So one thing I noticed, because I listen to all of my podcasts at 1.5 times speed, and so I was listening to all of us sped up, and I was literally incomprehensible at that speed. I was like the Micro Machines guy, where it's just you can't understand a word he's saying. You're just impressed that he's able to talk that fast. And so I'm going to consciously.
Is that so you can listen to more podcasts in your
Yes.
lifetime?
Yes, it's so that I can fit 1.5 times as much podcast content into my life as I could otherwise. I tried 2 times, and it was just a little bit too much. It started making my heart beat faster, because I was like, these people they're just talking so fast, and they're just so anxious, and it's making me anxious. But 1.5 I can handle, except when I'm listening to myself, because I speak so incredibly quickly.
You know at the end of radio commercials how they speed up the legal stuff? So
that is how I talk.
Or at the end of, or when they're giving you the side effects.
Right,
medication.
right.
So
Explosive diarrhea,
exactly.
you know.
Which is a good way to describe the way that I talk. So I'm going to be trying to slow myself down. The thing is, when I am on the air, I get like an adrenaline rush that actually kind of puts me into bullet time a little bit. So I feel like I'm speaking normally, and I'm actually speaking at double speed. It's just like time has slowed down for me, and it feels almost physically painful to restrain myself enough to speak at this normal human cadence.
I don't know.
That is how I feel right now. very seriously, I feel like I'm speaking at the same rate as Brant. So let's see if I can pull it off. I also have the microphone facing directly away from me because Jawa and Brant speak so much softer than I do that I'm actually speaking sideways into a shotgun mic, and I'm still hitting higher levels than the other guys.
You just have better projection, Jeffrey.
I am like a machine. I'm a machine that was made to talk and do almost nothing else. And so I do talking really, really, really effectively, and then I have to sort of like make up for it with like with everything else. So.
Oh, come on, Thrill Seeker. Random subjects not related to questions we ask. That's exactly what you tune in for.
That's right. That's right.
So used to it by now.
That is what this stream is about. So we have 1 minute. One last thing I want to show you guys.
Thanks for the host, Blaze.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Blaze. We're giving away prizes. We're
giving that away?
We're giving one of these away. We're also giving 3 of these little pins away. So stick around to the end of the stream.
By the way, let me see this.
What?
We don't even have these.
Yeah, we didn't get these. There's actually only maybe a dozen of these left in the world, and you might get one on this stream. So, what is this, you ask, by the way? It's a bunch of stuff that shipped around the same time. You could like buy it if you're a super, super fan of the game when State of Decay 2 came out. It includes a face mask and a steelbook case for State of Decay 2.
Is that the one that has the thumb drive?
Yes.
It's got, and a
thumb
thumb drive that looks like a rubber thumb. So that's gonna be cool. Hey, it's 2 o'clock. Let's grab that controller. Let's get the game going, and
right.
let's. So we're gonna go dark for just 1 second, and then come back in to the show.
Holy cow, Jeffrey! There's a materials thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's fine.
I can't believe you did that.
No. That actually was great. We're professionals, everybody.
They're
Show's ruined.
We're not coming in, guys.
We messed up the moment of silence.
Orange screen for the rest of the show.
Yeah. How's that for off topic, huh?
Hi there. Welcome to the, oh my gosh, let's just start that over again. That was a disaster. Yeah,
everybody go about your business.
Oh my gosh, no, this show did not start. Hold on. Hello there. Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Jeffrey Card, and we're going to get me right off this camera so we can meet Joe Swarner.
Hi, everybody.
Joe Swarner is a customer advocate at Undead Labs. You know him as Undead Jawa on our Discord, and he is here to answer your questions because that's what he's always here for. That is his full-time job. Next to him, we also have Brant Fitzgerald, who is the original State of Decay 2 streamer and all of our favorite person. We love him. So, Joe, how you doing?
Don't touch me.
Doing great. Been quite a week. So, 6.0 came out, and we've got a lot of people have submitted quite a few of the tickets to support.stateofdecay.com.
Support.stateofdecay.com, you said?
Yes.
It's up on screen right now.
Support.stateofdecay.com. And so, we have a new portal where we are opening up sort of our customer service / tech support / this is where you come to get told to go to Discord to make suggestions. But it's pretty busy. Get into the double digits of submissions every day, and it's not always just people that are fans of me and wanting to talk to me. Usually, it's something to do with the game, kind of like this.
Is it 3/4 that though? Is it 3/4 people who love you and want to talk to you?
Sometimes, but a lot of it is this. Oh, dang. He keeps walking. So, just little bugs in the game that that people want to let us know about, and of course, the terrible things that happen where we actually have to, eat a little crow and try to help people.
We eat a lot of crow around here.
It's tasty.
It's one of our favorite meals.
So if anybody has questions about the process of working either on the QA side, the customer service side, or just questions about bugs that you know about in the game, feel free to ask them in the chat. Megan's going to be filtering those and sending them to us so that we don't miss out, and hopefully we can answer a bunch of them. But if you are left at the end of this process with questions we don't answer, I mean, support.stateofdecay.com might be a good place to take them if they're about bugs and technical issues and things like that you're running into in the game.
Actually, this is a really important question from Han Solo Dolo. Joe, tacos or burgers? And there is only one true answer. There's one correct answer here.
Tacos or burgers? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's clearly and.
This is America, Brant. Well, the question is, which one is inside the other?
Oh, well, it would just be really gross to have like fluffy bread inside of tortilla. So I'm gonna go with the taco inside the burger.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess you could also just take the burger fillings, like take the ground beef, the cheese, the lettuce and tomato, and just stick them in the taco, and then it's just a taco, isn't it?
Right.
I guess it's which cheese and what hamburger you decide to use.
Right. Like I mean, it would be if you put a cheeseburger inside of a taco, that'd be like a triple layer taco, and I don't know how I feel about that.
And that is what this country is all about.
Right.
Taking things from different places and putting them into a big melting pot. And then eating them with a straw.
Yeah. Wait, how do you eat something with a straw?
I don't know what I'm talking about, actually. I need to slow down.
Yes, Jeffrey, your brain is already like 7 miles ahead of your mouth in your attempt to slow down. We're going to break Jeffrey today because he's trying to slow the rate at which he speaks words.
So I'm not seeing very many questions just yet, but so then I guess I have a question for the community about how they're liking some of the changes that went into 6.0 in terms of like the horde sizes and how things are dealt with.
We did see a fair number of posts on social media of people showing the horde sizes that they managed to get, like them standing on top of a car and just a zillion zombies gathered around them.
Yeah.
That was actually probably one of the most satisfying parts of working on 6.0.
Yeah, the larger. I mean, we've always wanted more zombies, and everyone was screaming for more zombies, and we finally got more zombies.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Skinch
3
asks about the Jeep replication bug from the Ant Survivor mission. So I would ask you the following then, Skinch. I need you to clarify what part of the replication bug, like the fact that like when it comes back, there's another one that spawns into the world, or are you somehow making a second Jeep while doing the mission?
Yeah, we have this kind of issue where it's possible for a mission to create a vehicle that it needs. Like if a particular mission needs like a Jeep or a police car or something like that, the mission can just create one. But the problem is, each time you quit the game and come back, or each time a mission is canceled and then respawns, it does that from scratch, and it doesn't remember the old cars it created. And so if you sit there with, say, the Ant Survivor mission, and you just let it restart multiple times, you can end up with a map that is just completely filled with Jeeps, and it's amazing. And so I don't understand what your problem is, honestly.
Yeah. Or the Action Hero fast cars.
Yes, that's another one, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
So if you want the bug to stop, finish the mission, and the bug will go away. You'll still have all the Jeeps. If you want to destroy the Jeeps, you'll have to destroy them yourself. But there's plenty of ways that you can do that. But as far as preventing it in the first place, just the faster you tackle that mission, the less likely it is to happen. We have explored various options for trying to fix that bug. They're all complicated, and some of them have risks of introducing new and worse bugs at the same time. So far, we've just kind of let this one ride because we don't want to make the game worse by accident. But one of these days, we might actually find the right opportunity to really make that bug go away. So if you really like all these cars and the equipment that comes in the back of them, enjoy them while you can. Just replicate like crazy, guys.
Maximus Wolf there is no ETA on Trumbull Valley map. Simple answer.
Hardman Burwell asks, do you think you have access now to great technology of Microsoft? Because we are now owned by the Microsoft Corporation. I think we kind of addressed this, I think, on an earlier conversation.
We all got cybernetic upgrades when we became...
That's true. That actually... It kind of, it turned my hair orange when we did that. It was kind of weird. But the thing about technology is one of the reasons why the game industry, we face kind of different challenges from a lot of other industries. Like industries like the film industry, some of the technology that they use has been the same for a century. It's been improving slowly, but it improves slowly enough that everyone can just use the same technology, everyone knows how it works, and it's just kind of no big deal from project to project. In gaming, everything is still so new and still in flux and so specific to each game that each game studio has to kind of build up its own base of technology that, it's all integrated together, everybody knows how to use the tools, and no two studios have the exact same set of tools. And
you can't work it. Somebody over at Epic can't fire up UE4 and then load one of our maps. It won't work.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of special stuff. And so we do have access to a lot of interesting, there's tons of other game studios that are connected to Microsoft. And that does give us the opportunity to learn from their expertise. But as far as the technology goes, anything new we wanted to bring over, we would have to put a lot of effort into building it up locally, integrating it into what we have, and building up the skills of the people here to use it. And so it's not as simple as just saying, oh, hey, we're friends with Ninja Theory now, let's just bring over all of their performance capture stuff. That would take not quite as much effort as it took them to build it in the first place, but it would still take a lot of effort. And so we're going to carefully pick and choose what it is, what benefits we try to get from our sister studios.
I worked for a very large entertainment company before I came here, and they all adopted an engine for their 10 studios or whatever worldwide, thinking that we would all leverage technology and send systems back and forth, and it was like the most ridiculous disaster ever.
But there are also, large publishers that have made that work. Like I know that the Frostbite engine has been making the rounds at EA, and they've been getting a lot of good stuff out of it, right?
If you go into it knowing what you can and can't do, like there has to be certain hooks in that technology that are common to everybody's systems, right? Mm-hmm. And as long as you don't fundamentally break one of those systems, then you can do that as long as there's coordination. There was the company I'm talking about. It was like, oh, you guys have a character generation system. Well, we'll just plug it into this other game, and in no way does it work that way.
So Deathcrow wants to know, Joe, how do you go about prioritizing submitted issues, and which ones take more precedence over others?
Is it whoever sends you chocolate?
Yes, absolutely.
Don't send chocolate.
I love Swiss chocolate.
If I saw something that looked like chocolate, but it came from somebody on the internet, I would not even put that in my body.
Part of the prioritization comes with what gets the most reports from the community. Also, what is it that seems to be the most game-breaking bug that's out there? Right, so. Every once in a while, you get a handful. Every update, you get a handful of people who are reporting save data loss or can't launch this at all. And while those are really bad bugs, more often than not, it ends up being something that we can't really identify. So even though they're really severe and game breaking, there's only a few people who report that. Whereas with something like stealth or tactics being broken, like they are in they're quote unquote broken in their current state, everybody runs across this, and we get quite a few more reports of that. And so those are the bugs that they're easier to find, and they're also easier to fix because we can track that down and knock it out of the park. So that's one way that we can take a look at it, visibility. What is it that changes the game the most from what it was intended to be, and also how many people are really experiencing this?
So there's kind of like two dimensions then. Like one is like how often it happens, and the other one is how bad is it when it happens. And both of those could make a bug really important,
right?
Depending on how far down that path it goes.
Right, exactly. Like if it's just something that's annoying. Like for instance, I know that every once in a while. Let's see if I can make it happen. Hey, you zombie, come here.
So, Tervoma says, "What's the preferred way of getting bug reports, error files, detailed descriptions?" Jeffrey, do you want to throw that?
I wanted to hear the rest of his sentence.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so like for instance, I know that every once in a while this kind of thing can happen. So, I'm just standing here on the corner of this, right? And there's the zombie, and he's swinging at me. For all intents and purposes, I should be able to hit him, but I can't, just because there was something in my way. But as soon as I get around that corner, right? And so while that's technically a bug, right? That's not necessarily something that we can fix without going back in through and it's not something that we've received a lot of reports about.
That makes sense.
So 0 people have complained about it, but it is there and it's in the game. Whereas, let's see if I can get up here. Before we implemented the stuck command, right? Like you might very well have just been stuck on this rod for a really long time.
And then you lose your burninator, basically.
Right. And so this would be annoying.
And a lot of people reported issues with that, which is why we made sure we added the stuck command.
Right. And so, we added fixes, and there were a lot of reports about this. Vehicles were one of the biggest problems, and so, sure enough, that got fixed.
And you brought the zombie with you. That was nice of you.
Yeah, well, she didn't want to be stuck on that rock either.
So, to go back to the thing that Brant brought up, which is really important, if you have stuff to report, go to support.stateofdecay.com.
Yes.
All the messages that you write go straight to the guy on the screen right now, and he gets to handle them.
He actually doesn't get to sleep. He has to be 24/7.
Yeah, that explains the bags under my eyes. No, but seriously, like I get to it as soon as I can. Like I would get here in the morning, I'll put in a regular day, and we're usually pretty light on tickets right about now. So if there's something that's really bothering you about the game, make sure that you submit a ticket, because it's going to be really hard for me to report it or investigate it if I don't know that you're experiencing it. So, feel free, support.stateofdecay.com, reach out. It is a good portion of my duties here.
So Daimyo 8 asks, is it possible for the Xbox One X or PC hosts to have an increased tether distance in multiplayer? This was something that our sustainment team actually did look into, and the problem was technically, yes, it is theoretically possible that we could make it a little bit wider for more powerful machines. The problem was we had to be very careful in where we set the original tether distance, because it's not just like it's one number you change and then everything just works. Like different parts of the game all needed to interact with that tether distance in different ways. Spawning enemies, like level of detail stuff.
I got one.
Oh, you got one?
So for tether distance, for instance, one of the issues that people were reporting was that in multiplayer, if you were too far away from the host, infestations were auto-clearing. And so part of that is related to, they're still within the tether distance, but they're not, but there was something, I don't remember the exact wording on the bug, but basically,
oh boy.
Okay.
That was the least scary feral attack I've ever seen.
I think one of the great things about Joe is that there's no player out there who cannot respect his playing skills. Like when you're talking with Joe about a problem that you're having, the problem is never like if Joe can't replicate it, it's not because Joe's not good enough at the game. You're never going to have that problem. Joe is probably one of the best players we have at the studio.
But where was I? Oh, the tether distance.
Yeah, so there were complicated stuff where it's not just you change the number and then everything works. Right. There's lots of different things that are using different values that are all kind of synced up to the tether distance. And when we looked into trying to extend it, we just realized there were so many potential things we could break by making that change, and there was no way we were going to come up with all of them. So what we were going to do is change the tether distance, put the game out there, and then the players would basically be our testers, and they would be finding all kinds of disasters and problems. And so we realized the small amount of distance that you could probably get with more powerful hardware by extending the tether wasn't going to be worth the instability. It wasn't going to be worth all of the inconvenience it would be causing for a lot of players. So we decided to hold back on that one and figured that, if we need to solve that problem, probably the best place to solve that is ground up on the next title. So, now that we've been purchased by Microsoft and there's a long-term commitment to the State of Decay franchise, we do have that option to think about things as future title solutions. So yeah, bear that in mind.
Well, and I think that's something that's really exciting too. Is like State of Decay 2 was good enough to earn you guys that spot. Get you. I guess I shouldn't say you guys.
Yes, you can say us.
Us, yes.
Us. I can
We
say
here
us.
together at Undead Labs.
To earn us a spot on the roster for like future support, and Microsoft really backing the franchise and the studio. And that in and of itself is exciting. And so, like between the fans and the folks that have worked on this, like, it's an interesting experience to watch a game go through this much success.
P1, if we remove the tether, then your multiplayer sessions would become unplayable.
Yeah, that's part of that was part of the problem with the infestations to begin with, is that like if you were out near the edge of the tether ring, nothing was loading properly.
Yeah.
No zombies.
Right, because all of the loading is based on where the host is, and to load everything that's out to 450 meters away from the player would literally, just that part would make the game nigh unplayable, because it would just kill your perf on any system. Maybe not some of the higher end PCs, but certainly on Xbox One. And so, that's something you have to take into account too.
So Crescent Empress asks, were changes made to the rate of scattered survivor calls? I feel like I'm missing out on recruiting and the longevity of the run with nearly nothing to do. So there was a change that was made. It used to be that we had two different random rolls that were going on periodically. One of them was just about recruit missions, and the other one was about all of the scattered survivor missions, including the recruit missions, and they were kind of running in parallel. And there was some sentiment actually that the game was too easy in a lot of quarters, and that maybe having characters be more precious would help with that. And so, to clean up our mess and also to make the game just a little bit more challenging, we removed one of those random rolls. And so now there's only one cycle that's going that is triggering those ambient missions. But if we're getting feedback that that is not sufficient and that it's actually leaving people with not enough to do, that's not a super difficult thing to ramp back up. So thanks for letting us know about that, and I'll make a note that that's something for us to look into.
I haven't received a lot of reports about this, Jeffrey, but one of the things that otherwise, there'd be a bug on it, and I certainly haven't been able to reproduce it, but a lot of people are saying that they're having a hard time recruiting simply because of the fact that the mysterious stranger and mysterious broadcast stuff seem to come up a lot.
Oh, are we indexing a little bit too high on those on the new missions that were there to show off the Zed Hunter content?
That seems to be what a few people seem to be reporting. I'm not sure if that's widespread or not.
The intent was for us to tone that back, and so it could be that we just didn't tone it back enough once we hit the point where we should. So I'll make a note of that too. We'll have to look into that. Because we don't want that to take over the game. We wanted it to be really dominant at first, so that people who've been playing the game for a long time could go and see the new content. Since that's what they were coming back to the game for when Zed Hunter released. But we don't want that to just completely take the game over. So we'll check that out. So no one in particular asks, is Joe the only one who reviews all the tickets?
I am the primary reviewer. And at the moment, I'm probably the only one that really looks over every ticket. So for the most part, the answer is yes. But we are we are obviously going to be expanding that as the studio grows and as the need for more people arises. We will all be there, and there will be other people who are reviewing it and helping answer questions and investigate problems.
Goodbye, Peachy. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, totally. And then, so you're the only one who sees them all at first.
Right.
But then when when action needs to be taken on it, there's a lot of other people that share the load with you to follow up bugs further and to fix them, obviously.
If there are enough reports, I turn it into a bug, and then y'all take over.
Goes into the whole QA system that we've got up here.
Yeah, exactly. So, that there are a lot of people that help with the investigation side and obviously with the fixing side. But in terms of just handling the incoming stuff, yeah.
Thrill Seeker wants to know, the stuff we were talking about with the tether, is that what was causing ghost vehicles? Where a vehicle would just have no collision and no interactability?
Until the host actually tried to get in? Yeah, I remember that.
From what I understand, Thrill Seeker, that is indeed the case. Basically, they just weren't loading in fast enough, and then the people would try to get into the vehicle, and then basically just walk right through it. You could I think you were able to interact with the trunk, but you weren't able to drive. I forget all the specifics of that, but yeah, I think that was the source of it.
Blaze Experience wants to know, have there been a lot of instances where we needed to go to Microsoft to help us solve the problem? I know the audio blowout issue involved some consulting with Microsoft, because that was super, super deep in the guts of the game.
Yeah, during development, there was a team that was basically on call for us that involved a lot of, if it involved hardware or deep programming on the box itself, there was a group of people who would try and troubleshoot that for us.
There's a lot of layers of code that make up a game. There's the stuff that is just built into the hardware. Then there's the deepest level of the engine that interacts with that, and then it goes shallower and shallower until you get to the mission scripting and data entry that designers like me do. And so when you get all the way down to the hardware level, that's where you'd need to talk to Microsoft.
Yeah, and anytime you have to interact with a system that Microsoft then controls, say leaderboards or something like that,
achievements.
The number, definitely achievements. The number of people who then are involved in problem solving goes up fairly dramatically.
Sixo wants to know, is it true that the mysterious wandering trader only spawns on weekends?
The answer is yes.
Which days specifically? Is
Friday through Sunday.
Friday through Sunday. So yeah, if you want to have the mysterious wandering trader, that's when you got to play. So Thrill Seeker suggests that it might be cool if there was a radio command for, please just give me a random mission if I've run out of stuff to do. That is a good idea. I think that's actually been floated here before. It might be on one of our cards somewhere. I'll have to look that up. Turvama wants to know, Joe, what is the worst ticket you've seen so far?
The worst ticket?
Yeah, maybe the
worst reported bug.
Okay. Let's answer both. Worst reported bug first.
The worst reported bug is clearly, in my estimation, is save data loss. That's just the game killer, right? Unfortunately, that it's a thing that happens in almost every game to a very small subset of its players. Now, in terms of, let's see, since we've gotten the support site up,
which is support.stateofdecay.com
right,
here on your screen.
Support.stateofdecay.com. Submit a ticket or submit a request. Sorry, and then let's see. So the worst. Let's see the absolute worst. I've seen some really odd stuff graphically. So for instance, some people have reported that on when they come into, I'm about to call it by its code name, Drucker County, and they go to and then they go to the starter home site there. That they'll come in and just the entire front of it, like it'll be like without shadows, and there's like little lines, sort of in the shape of an hourglass on its side.
Oh, weird.
All over the front of that.
Just sometimes, rarely that happens.
Yeah, just sometimes.
That's special edition stuff.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a limited edition
Yeah,
bug.
it's limited. If you see that, it's because you were one of the lucky few who got a special limited edition.
But bugs that happen some of the time, and there's no particular thing that makes it obvious why it's happening sometimes and not others, are the worst kinds of bugs.
Oh, that reminds me. I've been trying to reproduce this one, and I actually had this happen to me at home. So sometimes you'll be out and you're driving around in your car, right? Mm-hmm. And the only time I've been able to reproduce this is if you've played when I was playing for a really, really long time. And then I stopped somewhere, turned around, paid attention to my car, and it blew up. There was no reason why it should have blown up. It was perfectly well repaired. But I just kind of like what I did about here, right? Okay, so I'll stop, and I'll get out. Hopefully this one is out. Okay, thanks, Wexler. Why is there smoke over there? All right. So anyway, I went into the building that I was trying to loot, and come on, get up it. Oh, I'm out. Snacks. Eat it.
Eat some Cheetos. Oh, I mean, crunchy, delicious cheese things. Puffs.
Yes, cheese puffs.
No, we can't even call them that. Fried cheese.
Crunchy
snacks.
cheese.
There
bits.
we go.
Yeah, we just actually. I may or may not have been working on some of the achievements for one of our future releases, and we had to rename like 3 of them because they were afraid of copyright and trademark infringement, and which is understandable. People should defend their copyrights and their trademarks.
That's right.
But it also does mean that like something that sounds really clever to you in the moment can't actually do. You got to replace it. So replace them some more modern references with some ancient poetry.
There we go.
Yeah, the dead
guys,
poets don't sue.
You all appreciate more ancient poetry in your games. We're here to provide that for you.
So your car would have just blown up if you had the bug?
And there would have been 2 of them.
Oh, so there was somebody who was actually just recently talking, I think, on our Facebook page about the fact that they were having trouble. Like they had like a couple of, I think there were a couple of Brogans. Like a Brogan had duplicated on itself, and they were like undercarriage to undercarriage sitting there piled up, just kind of like the way my hands are, like
Perfect.
this. And yeah, and people in the comments were like, when a Brogan loves a Brogan very much.
Exactly. That's right.
No, but it's I mean those are the kinds of things you eventually get to see while working around with bugs and stuff. I do love this Burninator. Let's just kill some zombies.
So, Arky Gamescast is saying, I love this, by the way. I love hearing about the ins and outs of development and bug management. Joe, what was the hardest bug to find for yourself that was being reported?
The hardest bug for me to find?
Like, would that be the audio bug? I know that you were one of the folks who was finally able to get a consistent repro of that one. We were struggling for months.
The audio bug was difficult because there was a certain amount of multiplayer madness that made it a lot easier to find.
Gotcha.
And the multiplayer madness was specifically in Daybreak. So but what we were looking at there was just the amount of sounds. They weren't really getting cleared, and so you were ending up like putting out. There was too much output, basically, and so eventually it would just make your sound die. And so there's no real way to sort of measure that, and that was one of the things that the team worked really hard on, and also to go back to an earlier question, one of those things that Microsoft helped provide resources in order to get fixed.
It was so deep down in there in the in the sound system, basically, where this was going on, that it was right where it touches the hardware, and then it's you need as much expertise to muster as much expertise from about the Xbox as you can to solve problems like that.
Cerebral Mises asks, has there been any item that you actually wanted to see if the copyright or trademark holder would be okay with? Yeah, plenty.
We actually got permission officially for one thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was plenty of companies who were really excited about trying to get their products
that's right.
into the game. But, I mean, it takes two and a pile of lawyers to tango in this industry. And often the stuff that we think would be really cool is the stuff of nightmares for a legal team. And so, instead of trying to, fight that battle, you just move on.
There's the. I hope I don't get anybody in trouble. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
Yeah, don't say things that are gonna get people in trouble. I can change the subject though if you want.
No, I was just saying like little things that are in the game. I don't know if they were. Anyway, we'll keep that one under the hat until I find out later, and let's not do that on air.
So when we were doing early pre-production for State of Decay, there was a book that Brian and I read for inspiration about how facilities should work. That was basically about what is the fundamental technology you would have to build back up again after an apocalypse. The book was called The Knowledge by Lewis Dartnell. And at one point I was assigned to create a mission to go and find a book. And I was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could actually send our characters to go find the very book that we used as inspiration for the game? And so I mentioned it to Jeff Strain, our boss, and he actually contacted Lewis Dartnell and got permission to put his actual book and name into the game. So it's a pretty rare mission, but if you actually go and get that mission, you find that book, that's a real book. You can go read it, and it's real good. And I had no idea how important charcoal was to the universe, to human technology. But it is basically the foundation of all chemistry, and it's amazing. So go check that out. So that's one copyrighted work that we actually totally did make sure we had permission to put in the game, and we put it in. And I think it makes the game more interesting because you can actually learn something from it. One thing real quick before we move on. We're doing a giveaway at the end of this stream, probably in about, 10, 15 minutes. So if you want one of these collector's edition box type things, stick around for another little while. We're going to do a trivia question. And even if you don't get this guy, you might get one of these pins. So, there's lots of little options here, so stick around with us while we answer some more questions. No one in particular asks why we changed the jogging animation, and I didn't know we had. So that's in the realm of animation. Usually you'll find animators, though. Nobody, when they finish something, looks at it and is just satisfied that they love it and they've done their perfect work. Brant, except for Brant, of course.
Thank you.
All of the guns and props that Brant has worked on are perfect and impeccable.
I'm sitting right here.
But for the rest of us, for us mortals, looking at your own work afterwards is always like, oh my gosh, that could be so much better. And so since we've been in this situation where our animators, they can't add new animations to the game, a couple of them have been looking at ways that they can improve animations that are already there. And so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody updated the jogging animation to try to improve on it and make it slicker in some way or another. But I wasn't involved with that, so I've got no idea what actually happened. I just know the kind of thing that does happen. MagicMan79 asks, can we get some more clowns? Please, LOL, why are they so rare? The issue with clowns is that we've gotten a lot of the opposite feedback. There are some people who are like, can you please not have ridiculous clowns in your game? And so we actually, I think it was update 6.0, we actually added an option on the settings menu, so you can turn clowns on and off. So if you turn that off, then you get no clowns, no Revolutionary War fighters.
Yeah, okay, I was going to...
Revolutionary War guys were the ones who got the most attention, but you also wouldn't get any Plants vs. Zombies Coneheads. Any of the weird zombies you won't get if you turn that off. But if you turn it back on, then, the thing is, we want, when you run into a clown, just like in real life, that should be a special experience. And so we don't want it to be just like every other zombie is a clown, because then you're playing the clown game. This isn't the clown game, this is the zombie game. This is the occasional clown game.
We like occasional clowns. But if you're clowning all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Mon Prince Cyclope wants to know, Joe, have you played State of Decay 1?
I did. In fact, I tested State of Decay for State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition, which is what introduced me to Undead Labs and in general. So I did, and I haven't played it outside of testing it.
That's okay.
Very
That's
much.
okay.
But Breakdown, I mean, so when you guys talk about Breakdown a lot out there in the community, I know exactly what you're talking about and just exactly how fun that was. So, you know, yes, I have some knowledge.
Played your share.
Played a little bit.
Shizno Elite asks, can you say how long you will be adding to State of Decay 2? We don't actually know for sure exactly how long it's going to be. One thing we have promised, though, is that we've got our increase to difficulty that's coming out sometime this year, and we're also doing a return to Trumbull Valley sometime this year. So that you definitely still have a lot to look forward to. Exactly what the timing's going to be on how long we continue to support State of Decay 2 and when we need to move our full team on to whatever the next game turns out to be, that's still up in the air. We don't have a final decision on that, and we haven't announced any plans. But there's still plenty in the future, so keep watching this space.
And for all of you asking questions about State of Decay 3, we're not going to answer anything because we don't have any answers.
And we're not answering anything about Trumbull Valley or the difficulty increase either, because it probably won't be too long before we can have more information for you, but it's not here yet, so sorry.
We're not going to talk about it because without having certain knowledge of features and ideas, we're not going to promise anything because we don't want to, give you an expectation of something that we can't deliver on. So that's why we don't talk about stuff that's years away, right? So.
Well, and see, like, I don't know, with my family, it's like whenever you had a holiday that was coming up where gifts were traditional, you generally wanted to hold back what it was exactly that you were going to get, so that the surprise when you finally got it, was actually a surprise, and you felt there's something about the anticipation that makes it that much better. Could we at least say that they're going to really like it?
So yeah, Joe has been spending some time with some of the content that we can't talk about yet. And are you more excited about it or less excited about it, having played it yourself?
Oh God, I am so looking forward to it.
I think saying it's good is completely in bounds.
Yeah.
That's just pretty much all we can say.
Yeah, I've put my hands on it. I think the community is going to be really, really, really happy. So.
Glass Babies, adding tacos to State of Decay as something you could put together is too OP. You're right.
Because it affects morale and hunger.
Exactly.
Wait.
Health, morale, stamina.
We have a kitchen. Are there not tacos in here?
No, because it's too OP, man.
Well, there's a
if
feast.
you could produce a taco in the apocalypse.
So we can have a feast.
Tacopocalypse?
Tacopocalypse?
Yeah.
So thing is, prepare a feast.
The
When you prepare a feast for your community, does it not include tacos? Are you imagining your fantasy world in your head? Are there no tacos in this feast?
All it is tacos.
Okay, well there you go. Then tacos are in the game for you. For you, tacos are in the game.
We couldn't plumb them in with their true real world effects, because then people would be like, oh, it's a Tuesday and they're zombies, but I have tacos, so everything's great.
The 67 Haga asks, a zombie bear? And that is an excellent question. I think that the answer is bears don't need to be zombies. Bears are already bears.
Bears,
right?
Bears are killing machines as is.
Yeah, so completely unnecessary. Bears would be difficult. Quadruped creatures are always very hard. If the bear stood up and walked with a cane and a top hat, I think that would actually probably work better.
Or was just a lump on the ground and never moved. Totally. Right. We could do every species of
wintertime bears. Wintertime bears are totally doable.
We already did, aren't they, in the game? I've seen these bears standing around like with their
True, they're all
air.
That's true. They're not very animated, and they seem to be a little wooden in their performances.
In fact, don't go near one of the bear statues because it might actually just bite you.
It might come to life.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite experiences, so I worked on one of the couple of the Deer Hunter games at a previous life, And one of my favorite stories from that time was we brought in one of our top senior animators to help us out with some of our animals, because we were kind of getting behind schedule. We're like, we need more animals, so bring in an animator to animate an animal. And so we typically assigned a week for somebody to make animal animations.
Go check out the wizard van.
And so we assigned him like the black bear, and he did all of the animations for the black bear in like 3 days. And then he made an animation of a black bear with a cane and a top hat strutting into the level, cool. and sort of looking very refined and nice. And I was like, please, can we put this bear in the game? And we didn't get to. So if you played Deer Hunter 2014, you were this close to getting a bear with a top hat and a cane, and it just didn't happen.
Now see, Brent, one of the things that I've heard a couple of times from our tickets on support.stateofdecay.com,
which is on the screen right
now. There we go.
Right. Is what if this shot fireworks out of there?
You got support tickets for that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
That may be the best idea I've ever heard ever.
Just take the Burninator side and put it on the front of the wizard van, and we're good to go.
You have the fire-breathing dragon wizard van.
Right.
So Hail Damage has a couple of questions about books. First, he wanted me to repeat the name of that book that we used for inspiration. That is The Knowledge by Lewis Dartnell. It's called The Knowledge. So if you look that up on Amazon or someplace, you'll be able to find it. The other question is, with every update, have you guys been adding more and more luxury items? Because I still can't find volumes 3 and 12 of the encyclopedia. So we haven't been adding a bunch of luxury items. There just were a lot right at the outset. But I'm pretty sure missing volumes was intentionally planned into the game.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No, I think that they are all available.
Are they actually there?
So I am missing on my home profile. So like my community that's at like 220 days, and I don't know how many map changes. There's a bear.
Careful.
There's a bear next to my
wizard
van.
Bears are dangerous, man.
I am missing 3, 5, 6, 12, and 15, something like that, or 13 and 15.
You're missing 3 and 12 as well. 3 and 12 might not exist.
No, I bet they exist.
So,
I've seen. I thought for a long time that like 6, there was no way 6 existed, and then
you found it?
One day at work.
So I didn't make the encyclopedia, so I'm not exactly sure. I just know that we did discuss the possibility of having all the volumes except for one. And just having
people insane?
Just to drive people insane. I don't know if they did it, though. They might have actually put in all of the encyclopedias. I have no evidence one way or the other. But that would be the best. So let's do our giveaway real quick.
We need to give some cool stuff away.
So just to remind you guys, this is the grand prize that we're giving away. So what we're going to do is when we do our trivia question, we're going to pick a winner on Mixer, a winner on YouTube, and a winner on Twitch. And each of those winners is going to get one of these guys, one of these State of Decay 2 pins. But one of those winners is also going to get this pile of stuff right here that includes a zombie face mask, a thumb drive shaped like an actual thumb, a steelbook for the State of Decay 2 disc, all kinds of cool stuff. This stuff is very rare. There's only a handful of it left, and we've got one of the boxes right here. So here is our question. So last week, we asked about the character Kilo in Lifeline and asked people, what is his real name? By real, I mean, his full name. Kilo is his real name. It's what he goes by. But what is his full name? So we're going to ask a related question. Vince in Lifeline. What is his full name? So we've got a lot of folks here who played the original State of Decay, who played State of Decay Lifeline. So if you guys want to start looking that up or reaching deep into your memories to find that, you might be a winner. So let's see here.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, yeah. So I had it in my head because I was the one who named him, but I wasn't sure. I had to double check the spelling and stuff like that to make sure that we got it.
Shall we do this?
So Thrill Seeker is asking if we're going to be putting any extra effort into the weapon hold animations, clipping into guns, floating guns, that sort of thing. That's a really hard problem to solve, isn't it? Because when you have so many guns of so many different sizes, there's one reason why we don't have bullpup guns in the game, right? Is because
we are actually working on solutions for that, and it's actually getting better because behind the scenes, some of those gun holds have actually been updated. So
people are working on it. We're just not putting it in the patch notes.
Yeah.
We did have a patch note in update 6.0 where the stutter that as you were aiming your gun left and right, it used to, like basically it's like your hand was shaking, like you were just really nervous, and that's been fixed. But when you've got so many, I mean, historically animations, they're just pre-recorded, and people put their hands where they put your hands, and if you wanted to make guns of different sizes and shapes and configurations, you just have to make different animations for all of them. And now with modern IK technology, we can stick hands where we need to, but it's a delicate and sensitive process.
Well, and you have to set up your system to deal with that. Our original system was not IK based, and so the original State of Decay suffered the worst from that. Okay, it was close enough, right? And this time we spent a little bit more time like altering gun models and things like that to work with the existing. We only got like 3 different handholds, and so we had to make it work within there. But
so the guns would have to change to match the people, rather than the people changing to match the guns.
Yeah, but recently we've been working on, and I'm actually not sure where they are in that investigation, but there's some really promising advancements for our system that have been happening. I don't think they went into 6.0, but look for future updates to.
I think some of the handholds were getting.
I know that some got worked on, but I think the big solution that Seth is working on is going to be a fairly dramatic improvement for that.
That sounds awesome. Looking forward to that. And also, any technology like that we build up now is going to help us in the future too. The next game will hit the ground running with technology like this already in place.
Yep.
And then we get to spend our time solving other problems, which is great. One of the biggest challenges of making State of Decay 2 was the fact that we switched engines, and we had to build a lot of our technology, again, from the ground up for the new engine.
Reinventing the wheel every time.
So our plan right now is to let it ride this time around so that we can take advantage of what we've learned. That doesn't mean we're going to necessarily use all the exact same tools and technology we used before. In places where it needs to improve, we'll spend time improving it. But we get to sort of build on our own shoulders a little bit, and yeah.
I'm going to switch around your suppressors.
Go right ahead. Do whatever you want. This is a shared community.
I'm going to go ahead and switch around our suppressors.
So Arky Gamescast wants to know who came up with the Juggernaut's stomach jiggle, and did that person get a raise? They probably got a raise because it's been a couple of years, and it's kind of a regularly scheduled thing. I don't think they got it just for the stomach jiggle, but that is one of my favorite features too.
I don't know if that was a stipulation in his contract.
Yeah.
Like, did you achieve a certain amount of stomach jiggle?
Yeah.
Or juggle, as
Juggle,
I like to,
yes,
as
juggle.
I like to call it.
But he can certainly put it on his resume.
That's
going
right.
forward.
He can.
All right.
I worked on the Juggernaut's jiggles.
We've got some winners. So the full name of Vince in State of Decay Lifeline was Royale Vincent. So anybody who said Royale Vincent was entered into the drawing to potentially win this thing. And so the winners we got on Mixer, Casio is going to get one of these pins.
Congrats.
On Twitch, JoeBob19ful is going to get this guy.
Congrats.
And on YouTube, no one in particular, which is a person's name, is going to get this.
You're all winners on YouTube.
But
Oh, wait.
But the grand prize is going to go to Casio on Mixer. So congratulations,
Yay.
Casio.
Nice job,
This
you guys.
is going to go into a box and into then a mailbox and eventually to your mailbox. Or, I don't know, you might have...
Congratulations, Casio.
I don't know how big your mailbox is. But hopefully you'll get it. Hopefully no one will, steal it off your doorstep, which is a
Wow,
thing.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. No, I just go right for the pessimism.
Wow.
Well,
I work on a game about the apocalypse.
But we're supposed to be hopeful.
That's true. We are the hopeful apocalypse. Darkchild80 wanted to know, have you guys thought about being able to use ranged weapons as melee weapons? Gun
Yes.
butts,
Yes,
things
we
like
have.
bayonets.
All I can say is yes. That was way back in the day. That was one of the. We were just like, oh yeah, and if a zombie gets too close, you hit the button and you'll
Jab it in whatever way you
pistol
need to jab
whip
it.
or whatever. But it always comes down to animation memory. And when we were looking for things to cut because we had to find memory to make to stand up some other systems, animation's a big hog when it comes to memory. So taking out stuff that didn't need to be in there
Yeah, which it didn't. I mean,
got cut.
we also wanted to put that in State of Decay Lifeline. Honestly, that was on our feature list for that game because we had a bunch of military folks. Military people don't typically carry around pipes and swords and things like that into battle. Usually, they've got their assault rifle and maybe a sidearm, and they got a knife somewhere in there. But that wasn't really. We wanted to stick with the theme and give them the ability to fight just using that assault rifle. But again, time. There were more important parts of the game that we needed to get in, and that didn't end up making the cut. So I don't know. Now that we've got, we're going to continue working on this franchise, and we can build from what we've got. Maybe some of these ideas. I know another favorite one is sidearms. People would love to have a sidearm that's quick to switch to.
Like a hot swap.
And that's one of our favorite ideas too. So maybe we'll get the opportunity in the future to do it. I know we're as excited about that stuff as you guys are. So we hope we get the chance to do it.
Yep.
But everything's a trade-off. Everything costs something. No such thing as a free lunch or whatever. So Tanstaffel.
Yeah, I saw somebody basically talking about the paper doll stuff where you can choose what your people wear. Yeah, of course, we've always wanted that, right? But it's not just the memory and stuff to swap that stuff out. It's building a system that allows you to do that. It's huge, and the UI can you're basically building a whole UI system to support that.
And I'd also want to
it's not easy.
I'd also want to rethink about the way that we present our characters too, because right now, a lot of the time, you usually see your characters from a distance. You don't get a lot of opportunity to really get up close with them and get to know their faces. And so having each character have a distinctive outfit that never changes actually really helps you identify that character and get a sense of who they are. And it gives you sort of an image in your head that you can associate with that character's identity and their traits. And if we added a system to let you change their clothes, we'd have to take a second look at how often we let you get up in their faces, so that if the clothes were changing all the time, if you were dressing your entire community in the same outfits because that's what floats your boat, we would need to make sure you had other ways to identify with them and make sure you knew who they were. So everything's got trade-offs. It's not just technical trade-offs and cost trade-offs. You also have to rethink, whenever you change the design of a game, you have to think about all the impacts that change has across the rest of the game's design and aesthetics. Hansel Adola wants to know if we plan to ever have any kind of parkour mechanic. Climbing and scaling buildings, jumping from rooftop to rooftop. If we had the right setting for it, that's the kind of thing that would be kind of neat to do. It is kind of Dying Light's domain. I don't know if we want to necessarily, tread too closely to trying to be in a zone that is very well covered by a different game.
And Dying Light, while it was really fun, right? State of Decay 2 State of Decay in general adds a totally different element and a totally different take on the apocalypse than what you got out of was it Hakar? Was that
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But one of the challenges too is parkour is really good in a dense urban area, but in a wild rural type setting like you get with State of Decay 2, there aren't as many great places to do it. Like the downtown Lowell.
You could find that one house though and jump off the roof as often as you want.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 3. Anybody? Sorry.
Oh no, that's cool. So we've got 3 minutes left. If anybody's got last minute questions, that sort of thing, we would love to hear them. So Jesse Baker asks,
"Got to make some noise.
Why is there no one named Jesse in the game?" And I would counter that there is. You just haven't found them yet. The name Jesse is definitely in the game.
I've seen it.
I think for both men and women. So yeah, you got lots of chances.
In fact, one of my communities that I use to play with other fans, because I don't dare take my own community members there.
Yeah.
But I made a community full of basically cannon fodder, and there's a Jessie in there.
Cool.
And she's actually really cool. So.
Just reminding everybody, support.stateofdecay.com is how you get to talk to this handsome gent over here.
And it's a definite thing.
It is actually a real thing. If you go there and you make a request, that will go into an inbox of some kind that that Joe will read. He will read every single one of them, and he will do his best to help in any way that he can. And different kinds of problems need different kinds of help, I imagine. Like sometimes it's go to the dev team and make a bug and fix the problem. Sometimes it's walk somebody through the steps of solving it themselves. And
and sometimes it's about computer compatibility or finding out, well, I won't go down that road. But,
there are a lot of roads we need to steer you off of, Joe.
Yeah, I speaking openly and freely about bugs. It's liberating, but it's dangerous.
It's hard to know exactly what you want to say about internal stuff going on in a company. I hope that you guys do appreciate the difficulty of that. That we're coming out here, we're talking to you, we're all terrified out of our minds. We're going to say something stupid and get into legal trouble. We managed to get through it, but it can be pretty rough.
We've been dodging bullets like that for a long time.
I know, like Brant and I have we feel like like Neo in the Matrix at this point. But anytime somebody comes and starts doing it for the first time, usually like a new guest will come to me and be like, what can I say? What can't I say? I don't want to say anything wrong. And Joe's actually pretty chill as these things go.
Yeah. Well, I figure if I say anything wrong, I'll just have to pay for it later. So that's all good.
Yeah, you can't say anything as dumb as some of the dumb things that I've said. So
this is absolutely true.
Absolutely true. We're not going to go into it, but it's absolutely true. So one person, somebody in the chat, it just shot by, but somebody in the chat asked, are there going to can we add mouse and keyboard support to the Xbox? And I believe that, and they ask, or is that a Microsoft thing? And I believe that is a Microsoft thing, but I think it's something that Microsoft has been talking about working on. I don't know if it's supported yet, but I think that is on the slate somewhere.
Yeah, I think that they are saying that they want people to develop for that with support, but I don't know how that's going to work with titles that weren't already developed with that in mind.
Yeah, like right now, our game assumes that if you're playing on a console, mouse and keyboard are not an option. And so even the settings menu has those culled out so that you don't see them. So I imagine even if Microsoft rolled out that functionality, I think we might also have to patch our game to support it. So we'll keep an eye out for that, though, because if we do have the opportunity to support that, I know a lot of people really do prefer to play this game with mouse and keyboard. And if they could do that on their Xbox, for some folks, that's exactly what the setup they're hoping for. So we'd love to support it if we get the chance. And it is 3 o'clock, so I think we're about done. Ending on a theatrical death is actually completely appropriate.
Everybody, thank you all for joining us. Thanks for the great comments. We love talking to you guys. We love being here with you guys. We still love this game, and we love the fact that there are people who come hang out with us and talk about it, because there's not too many things we'd rather spend an hour a week talking about than what we like about this and what we like sharing it with you. So thanks for coming. Thanks for your never-ending support. We're always trying to make it better, and you guys are the best.
And especially thanks to Joe, too, for all the work that he does, keeping being the voice for us of the community. It's been really important. The role that he plays here is super valuable. So that is Brant Fitzgerald. That is Joe Swarner. I am Jeffrey Card, and thank you all for being here. We will see you next week, Tuesday at 2, every week. And goodbye.
Bye.
Good night. Good luck.